Café and Networking Podcast promotes interpreters, startups, authors, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American known as the King of Networking, connecting people and speaking from my studio in Vinhedo, São Paulo, Brazil. And today we talk with Laura Templeton. She's joining us from Bradenton, Florida, in the United States. Laura Templeton is an international speaker, author of Ditch the Pitch and Start Connecting, a master connector and creative communications consultant, chief instigator at 30-Second Success, crafting 30-second messages for networking and video. So Laura, what's your 30-second message?
Thank you so much for having me here, Tom. My 30-second message is most people struggle to effectively communicate who they are in 30 seconds or less. At 30-Second Success, we work with business owners and professionals to find the words that define who they are and how they serve their audience in a more effective way so that they can communicate well, whether they're networking or on video. If you know someone who's struggling to effectively communicate who they are in 30 seconds or less, schedule a call with me today. Laura Templeton, 30-Second Success.
And the video is a challenge in itself, right?
Absolutely.
Because just speaking is a challenge for some people, but when they see or understand that people are looking at them and can see them, that becomes even a bigger challenge, right?
It does. A lot of people, try to fill the time with words that don't really connect, and giving them the ability to figure out a script that works well for them, and then giving them just those simple tips on how to show up well and professionally on video makes a world of difference.
And as they say, practice makes perfect, right?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I put in my book, 30-Second Success, Ditch the Pitch and Start Connecting. Practice, practice, practice. Right. There are times where I still will review my 30-second message, whether I'm showing up in person for a networking event or online, because then I don't have to think about what I'm going to say, right, and I can focus on other people.
Well, I actually do that. In podcasting, I always practice my introduction of other people. So if I don't record that and hear myself before I actually introduce somebody, I miss the cadence. Mm-hmm. I can mispronounce, I can stumble.
Even when you're reading from a piece of paper, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But so, you have to practice. You have to hear yourself. I have to hear myself speak.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes we get caught up in the fact that we want to add a lot to what we want to say, rather than being clear and succinct. But when you have a clear, succinct message that people need to hear, it resonates not only with you and your heart, but it resonates with the people that you're speaking to. It gives them an opportunity to remember you. Those key words that they're listening for, whether it's networking, whether it's how you service or what you sell, whether it's a product, or if you're a coach, what is it that you are delivering and how is it that you're helping other people is what they want to know.
And why are you different?
Oh my goodness, the differentiators are huge, right? How do we set ourselves apart? There's so many people out in the world trying to do very similar work, but what makes you different?
Right.
What makes you unique? And a lot of times it comes down to listen to what your clients are saying about you. What are those testimonials that people are reading? How many times have you read a testimonial about the work that you do and you were surprised that people reacted the way they did to the work that you've done?
I found that over time. I found that not only what we say or how much we say needs to be reduced. It's sort of, putting yourself on a diet, putting yourself on a speaking diet. So just take out those words. It's just adding weight, but not necessarily adding meaning.
And that's so true. Words are so intentional. I love really exploring words that are very descriptive and good identifiers for people that resonate and connect with emotion.
Right.
When we talk about marketing, right? Think about the marketing 101 rules. It's really about driving people from a place of emotion. How do we move people to make a decision based on emotion? And a lot of it has to do with how we make our clients feel. So what are those feelings that we generate in other people with that emotion? I have a woman that I used to work with that would talk about, oh my gosh, what would you do tomorrow if your house burnt down today? Mm. And she talked about insurance, right? But approaching it from the perspective of what would you do tomorrow if your house burned down today made people stop and think, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Where would I live? What would I do?
They stop breathing.
Right. Right. So it is, a lot of people talk about your 30-second message needing to have like a shock and awe factor. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily always agree with that. I think it depends on the industry that you're in. Right. But I do agree that it has to connect with emotion. It has to come from your heart. You have to feel it.
So your work doesn't come out of a can or a box. So you really customize and personalize.
Absolutely. And it depends on the individual, who they're serving. I can work with 10 different people in the same industry and all of their messages are going to be different because I get to know the people that I'm working with. I can work from a stage, whether it's virtual stage or, an in-person stage where I'll bring one or two people up and we'll talk about their 30-second message and I'll learn a little bit more about them personally. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden we have an opportunity to really build a 30-second message that feels authentic to who they are.
Right. I think that's the key word, authenticity.
Absolutely.
And that's something really needs to be felt. It needs to be shown, but it also needs to be felt. And the more authentic people believe that you are, it's a credibility thing.
Yes.
And they'll believe you.
And it also helps the person who's expressing their 30-second message. Once they feel it and once it's really part of who they are, you see their confidence level just go through the roof. Their confidence explodes. When someone else believes in them enough to pull those words out of them, the way I work with clients, then all of a sudden they see it in themselves. It's like they didn't see it before until I was able to uncover it for them.
Well, I can say what you teach people is not to learn to do the 100-yard dash and not breathe, but to place marathon techniques and put them into 30 seconds.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that I've watched too many people struggle, and this is part of the reason why I started my business, is I used to watch these amazing, incredible people just try to stuff everything that they do into 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden they were like, blah, 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 blithering idiot. It's like, we call that like word vomit.
Right.
And I witnessed it too many times, and it used to break my heart because I would watch these amazing, incredible women and men that I knew just fall apart when it was time to do their 30-second message. But once I worked with them and gave them the words that they had been struggling to find and really expressed that I believed this about them, they started to believe it themselves, and their confidence really grew exponentially. So when I teach clients, I also teach them the formula for crafting your 30-second message. That pitch, the 30-second pitch, the elevator speech, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And the reason why I say ditch the pitch, it's really about the connection. Right. If you're just pitching and throwing words at people and it doesn't connect with their heart, you're not going to hit a home run.
No, and that gets back to the word of authentic. It has to come out and seem natural.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it has to be their words.
Right.
That's important.
Right.
Right. It has to be the words that really resonate with you personally. In order to resonate with the clients you're meant to attract. Now, you spoke earlier about niche and creating a niche. A lot of times when I speak with clients, especially small business owners and entrepreneurs, they're so afraid to really focus on one specific market because they're afraid they're going to lose out and miss out.
Right.
But when you create that niche, that real focused direction for your business, you start to attract not only the clients that you absolutely love to work with, but other people see the work that you're doing. And then you have a choice of whether you want to work with them or not.
And that's where it comes. That's where future success comes from people we don't know.
Absolutely.
Well, Laura, I want to thank you. We're coming to the end of our time, but thanks for sharing your time and your experience with our listeners.
Well, Tom, I am so happy to be here with you. And if your listeners want to reach out to me, it's easy to find me at 30secondsuccess.com.
Very good. And reminding everybody, that's Laura Templeton. That's Laura. The last name is Templeton. You find her on LinkedIn and 30secondsuccess.com. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus Semi-Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on their website, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.